Welcome to this video tutorial about inheritance. Inheritance is a Java mechanism in which one class can essentially share its fields and methods. The class that's sharing its fields and methods is known as the superclass or the base class. The class that is borrowing those items is known as the derived class or the subclass. So let's consider this example. Here we have an animal class. Now in the animal class we can define a few items of instance variables that can be shared among the subclasses, such as number of legs. So an animal will have a number of legs. So here we would say private, and number of legs will be an integer, so we'll say int, and just say N for number, O for of, and then L for legs. So number of legs. Alright. Below that we can consider another instance variable such as, is this animal vegetarian or not? If they are vegetarian, we will simply make this a Boolean variable because it's either true or false. They are a vegetarian or they're not. So therefore private Boolean and vegetarian. Okay, the last instance variable we could make, possibly we could make more, but another one would be to say what does this animal eat, so specifically more so. So that would be a string, so we'll say private string and eat. Okay, and this could be their favorite meal perhaps. Now here we would already have a zero parameter constructor, but the moment we introduce a new constructor, this one disappears. So we'll just keep the one that we defined here and add an additional one. So public animal, and this one's going to have some parameters, and we're going to actually define these three instance variables. So the first one is an int, so we say int L for legs, comma, and then we say Boolean, okay, V for vegetarian, comma, and we say string and E for eat. Now inside this constructor, we will simply assign all of these variables once they've been given to the animal itself. So therefore this dot number of legs, okay, number of legs, and then we're going to say you're equal to L. This dot Boolean, and we're going to say you're equal to V. And finally this dot favorite food, eat, and you're equal to let's say E, semicolon. So therefore this constructor allows you to begin your animal with these three variables. So number of legs, whether they're vegetarian or not, which will be a true or false answer, and the string for their favorite food. Now we can define additional items inside this class such as methods, and let's begin one method. So this method will retrieve whether the animals are vegetarian or not. So it's going to therefore have a return type, so let's begin it public, okay, and it's going to have a return type of Boolean, okay, and let's call it is vegetarian, is veg, okay, and open bracket, close bracket, semicolons, okay, and then inside we will just say return vegetarian. I don't know if I can spell correctly. Vegetarian. Okay, so we've got our instance variables here. We've got our zero parameter constructor for an animal we have no information about. We've got our three parameter constructor, so we have information about each instance variable, and then we've got our public Boolean is veg, one method. We could also create further methods to ascertain the number of legs and what type of food the animal eats, but we'll just stick with that to begin with. Now we're going to move over here on the left hand side and we're going to add an additional subclass or a subclass to our animal package. So we'll just say here, we'll call this the dog. Okay, now in our dog class we are going to define some instance variables. A sensible one would be to define the breed. Breed's going to be a string, so we'll say private string, and we'll say breed. So what breed is the animal? All dogs have a name, so we can also define that here and now. Private string and name. Okay. So we've got private string breed and private string name. Now we can write a constructor here. Now what is the purpose of this constructor? This constructor is gonna make a new dog. But as we know we are inheriting from the animal class up here, we can use the super line within the constructor to actually call on this constructor here. Let me demonstrate that for us. So here we go, public dog, it's a constructor. Now inside this we're going to take, we want to know the breed and the name, so we're going to say those are both strings, string breed, comma, string name. Okay, now additionally inside this constructor we want to get the information that is relevant to the animal, so that's going to be this information here, our int L, boolean V and string E. Okay, so I'm also going to add that information in here, which makes it quite a long constructor with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. Now when we're using inheritance, several things I've neglected here. Firstly, on our class header we need to use the extends line to inherit from the animal class. Now they are linked. Public class dog extends animal, so therefore it now inherits from the animal class. So this line is very important. So the extends keyword allows us to inherit. Now in here, in the dog constructor, I need to use the super, okay, in order to, that's a lowercase s, super, in order to call the animal constructor. And these are the 3 items that are going into the animal constructor. So my L, comma, my V, comma, and my E. And I'll just put a semicolon there. So now that allows us to access the animal constructor. So using the super keyword, L for number of legs, V for vegetarian or not, and E for eats. So those answers are going to be passed to that constructor. So that's our inheritance. So rather than repeating all of the information that is provided in the animal class, I can just simply do that line. Now I'm going to define the breed and name, and that's going to look like something like this. This dot breed equals breed, semicolon. This dot name equals name. Okay, and that is my dog constructor completed, and I'm quite happy with that. We could add other variables, but let's now jump into our driver class so we can actually produce our first dog. Okay, so within my driver class, this is where we're going to have our main method. So it's going to be public static void main, like so, and then I'm going to instantiate a new dog object. So we're going to do that via this direction, dog, and we're going to give our dog a name. Let's call him K1. Okay, equals new dog, open bracket. Now, as we know, our dog object takes 5 parameters, which is a bit crazy. So I'm just going to jump back into here. I'm going to copy and paste them on my main method, so I have an idea of what those items are. I'll just put that in a comment here. So we know our first one is number of legs, so we have 4 legs for our dog. Our Boolean variable here is, are they vegetarian? They're not vegetarian, so we'll make that false. And we have our, what's their favorite food? I guess their favorite food is probably some form of meat. So we'll make that a string. Okay. Now the breed, we will simply say, let's call this breed, I don't know, Pitbull. Okay, Pitbull string, Pitbull. Okay, and the name of our specific dog here is going to be called Fido. Okay, now Boolean false, that should be so. Okay, now we have the information about our dog. Looking at this line, it's a bit long-winded, and there's ways that we can minimize that because some of this is going to enter into our repetition, and the purpose of using inheritance is to actually minimize repetition. So we'll have a discussion about that in a moment, but let's just see if we can return some information. So if we remember, we developed in our animal class, we had this isVeg method here. So we're going to have a go at using that isVeg method here. So we're going to say K1, because that's our dog, dot, and I'm just going to copy my isVeg method there, and I'm going to put that in a system out print. Okay, and this will return an answer to tell me, are you vegetarian? Obviously this is a Boolean response, so if we play this, let's see what we get. Oh, we just need to make sure we have our main class there, and let's see what do we get. So, false, you are not vegetarian. Okay, excellent. So I'm just going to pause that right there.